Hello and welcome to another episode of Time Buster Training. This is a series to inspire you and inform you on your fitness journey. So today we are speaking to Katie. How are you doing, Katie?
Hi, Stuart. I'm good, thank you.
So Katie, we know each other from our sons playing football together. So it's quite a bizarre coming together. But I saw Katie post something in lockdown that really made me think about that is a story I want to share. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but we've got 20 minutes. I'm going to start the watch before I forget. So we've got 20 minutes. Okay, just introduce yourself to people who don't know you.
Okay, I'm Katie and I am a children's nurse. I'm also a full-time mum, and at the minute I'm a full-time school teacher as well. So that's basically me. Before I was nursing, I used to be in the Royal Navy, where I spent 4.5 years doing communications. And I really always struggled with my physical fitness, always have done. And it's never been something that I've really enjoyed doing. It's been a challenge.
Fab, yeah, I think lots of people can resonate with. And do you know what? I've completely forgot that you've got a military link as well. We sort of came on quite quick, didn't we? We've not seen each other for quite a while in lockdown, you see, and
Yeah.
you lose this information. So without giving too much banter, and we could do the whole thing of banter for the whole 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you said about your relationship. That was one of my first questions. So I know we're going to talk about your journey from January. But tell us just roughly about your fitness journey and health, fitness, relationship with food. What does that look like historically?
Okay, so I really enjoy my food. I like cooking. I like eating out. Always have done. A lot of our social events are all around going out and having friends over and eating food that we shouldn't be eating. So really for me, I've just gained the weight. And ever since I had my little boy, Jack, who's now 8, it's just kept going on and on and on. And I think you get yourself in a bit of a comfort zone where you're married, you have children, and you don't really go out clubbing or anything like that, and you don't really get dressed up. So you don't really realise how much those pounds do actually creep on until you suddenly, at some point in your life, you have a penny drop moment. And recently have had my penny drop moment, but it's been years coming and well overdue.
Yeah, Fab, and do you know what? You just reminded me about something, but I saw something, and I think I shared it on our group as well a couple of weeks into lockdown. It was the tip and advice about putting your work clothes on or putting your jeans on more than you probably are thinking about, because you'll probably get to the end. At that point, we didn't know how long this was going to go on for.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that that's such a simple tip, isn't it? And you hear lots of people going in and out of clothes sizes, and yeah, it's just a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So tell me about the reason I've got you on here. Okay, tell me about that moment, and again, we'll probably come to the bit that I saw. Okay, but when was your penny drop? Because you've had a penny drop, you've had a great change, haven't you, since January?
Yeah, I have. I was actually in an article in the Times actually at Christmas time, and they came and took a photograph, and I absolutely hated it. I never knew I looked that big. I mean, obviously, cameras do add a few pounds onto you anyway, but it absolutely repulsed me. But at that time, we were just approaching Christmas, and I knew it wasn't a good time to kind of start something like trying to lose weight and trying to change my whole mindset. So I thought I'll just get Christmas out of the way, and then January, I said, we need to draw a line, and I need to move on, and I need to make big changes. So, and I did.
So just going back again, that's just me. So what was different? Because have you had those moments before? And why was this one different?
No, I have had those moments before, but all through my life, that when I decide to do something, I give 110%. So if I'm not ready mentally, then I won't commit to it. And I knew that on the run up to Christmas, I couldn't give 110%. And I wanted to do it and achieve good outcomes, because I'm really, really stubborn, and I'm stubborn with everything that I do. And if somebody tells me I can't do it, then I'll prove them wrong. And so this was just a personal challenge. And obviously with COVID and everything, it kind of gave me even more of a challenge to do it, because I was determined to use that time locked away from everybody to come out the other side looking different, feeling different, and being healthy.
Yeah, fab. So we're going to dig into that a little bit. And you mentioned a word that I would love to know your perspective and your thoughts about. So the word mindset. So mindset is used quite a lot. And I've got a big thing about mindset. But what's your perspective? What in your world was that mindset that you had to either change, or what was it that was tripping you up, all those sort of things?
I didn't feel comfortable in myself and in my body. And my mind was so much more healthier than what my body was. I did feel like I was much younger in the head, but I looked really old. So I just wanted to change the way that I thought and my relationship with food. I mean, I've always been what saved me a lot of times when I've been struggling with my mood is mindfulness. And I've used that to help me to lose the weight in how I view, how I perceive fitness and food.
Yeah, I love that. And it's interesting you mentioned that, because we were just chatting before about the challenge that the Time Buster trainers are doing this week. And it's about mindful movement. And it's exactly the same as mindful eating. We talk about mindful eating quite a lot. But this week we've set the challenge of doing mindful movement. So I, for example, have committed to not doing running and not suddenly changing my routine. But my mindful movement is taking the dog for a walk and doubling the walk, because I'm mindfully sometimes going into the woods, throwing the ball for the dog, talking to the dog walkers, and then going home. And I've not actually walked that much. Obviously, I do lots of exercise on top of that. But you're right. So mindfulness on food and exercise is quite interesting. You don't have to get your shorts, trainers, sweatbands out to actually do something mindfully. So what were the changes? What was the first thing you did?
Well, the first thing I did was adjust the type of foods that I eat, and I did a lot more home cooking, and the food bill went really high because I was cooking all fresh stuff. So basically I kind of changed what I ate, all homemade stuff, and I used to live from food in the freezer, but basically, so now everything's home cooked. But then I got to a point where I needed more than just changing what I was eating. I needed to introduce exercise, and it's really been that introduction of exercise, which is much more recently than January. I mean, I've only been really exercising for probably about 2 or 3 months now. In fact, it's been ever since Boris told us that we could go out for our daily walks that I felt compelled to go out for my daily run.
To get that fix.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've seen a lot of people do opposites. So people aren't in the middle anymore. They're either doing loads and being really consistent, or they're doing absolutely nothing. There seems to be no middle ground.
No, well, I think when all this is, well, it's not going to be over for a long time, but when we do meet up, there's going to be 2 different types of people. Either those people that have come out looking completely different and a lot worse, feeling a lot worse, both physically and mentally. And there's going to be those people that have used it to actually do that opposite shift and come out of it feeling really positive and looking completely different. And I was determined to use this really quite depressing time at the minute into try and turn it into something positive for me.
Yeah, and I love that as well. Has that had an effect on the people around you?
Yeah, it's definitely rubbed off on my husband, who has also recently, obviously he cooks what I make him, but he's begun to run as well, and he's begun to go out on his bike, which he hasn't done for donkey's years.
Fab, I'll have to give him some stick over that. I'll have to find out his running routes. So tell me about, like, I really want to dig into that. What is mindful eating for you? Like, we talk about portion sizes. You've already talked about cooking from fresh. I talk sometimes about actually sitting down at the table to have something to eat and not eating on the move. So what does that look like for you? Have you changed all of those? What were you doing to what you are doing now?
No, well, it's still very difficult because I'm a nurse and I work long days, so I work 14-hour shifts. So it's about being organised for me in work. So it always used to be in work. I'd used to snack, and being a children's nurse, there's always sweets around and people do cakes and all sorts. So it was about making sure that I was prepared for the 14-hour shift by having the right foods available to me to snack on, to graze on throughout the day.
What was that, if you don't mind me asking? What did you change it to?
Strawberries, melon, those fast type of foods that you could just pick up and eat instead of having sweets. I'd always have strawberries or grapes on the desk, and basically lots of salad. I've completely reduced my bread intake, which I love toast. But I kind of allow myself 2 pieces of bread probably 3 times a week.
Right,
okay. Also to drink lots of water in work as well, because you always forget to drink. As a nurse, we just rely on cups of tea. So I'm drinking a lot more water than what I ever have drank.
Yeah, and do you know what? The reason I sort of digged into that a little bit more is because lots of people say about when they're in the workplace. And again, yours is a prime example, but there's lots of people who in their workplaces, in an office, in lots of different workplaces, you actually find out there's a lot of I'm going to say secret eating, but there's a lot of opportunities to snack on lots of things that you shouldn't be snacking on.
Yeah.
And it's a common thing about what do I actually do about it? And one of the things is to not think about food, increase your hydration levels, because that has an effect on your hunger. But yeah, that's a common thing. So that's really interesting to find out your perspective and how you've overcome that. So before we finish, let's go negative. Okay, I don't like doing negative, but you've done absolutely fantastic. And on the face of it, people see success, don't they? They see like you've had this massive transformation. Tell me about when it was hard. Like when was it challenging for you? Thought, oh, I've had a rubbish 2 days, or what does that look like?
Well, to be honest, I've stayed positive throughout the whole experience. I do have the odd day when if I'm really craving a food, I don't go without, because I think that you just think about it more then. So if you just have a day off and then get straight back on it, because it's easy for one day to go into 2 days off to go into, well, let's just have the whole weekend off and start again on Monday. So I do allow myself the odd day off, but I still don't go mad, because it would just be easy just to go back to old habits. But I found that since I've been exercising and running, I absolutely hated running. Always have hated running. Even when I was at my peak of fitness in the Navy, I couldn't run. I'd really struggled running. And now I'm actually on the verge in the last 2 weeks of saying I actually enjoyed running.
Wow, that's good.
It's really quite bizarre. And I never thought I would enjoy running. I don't run far, but the fact that I can run without stopping is it's a massive achievement for me. And it's only been now in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, because we're all in the routine of going to work in our uniforms, coming home, and then we just put our comfies on, so you don't really wear proper clothes. And it wasn't until a few weeks ago when I thought, I'm going to wear the same clothes in that photo that I absolutely hated at Christmas and see what I look like. So I purposely got exactly the same outfit on, and I went and stood in the garden in the same place. And it wasn't until I seen that picture, the before and now, that I actually realised how much I'd lost, because I've not worn normal clothes.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's really interesting to hear you say that as well, because my big thing is about let's go away from that figure that stares at us from the floor when we stand on a little elevation platform that gives us a weight of what we are. Because it's amazing how many people get tunnel vision and focus, and it's like, do you feel better? Are you happier? Are you moving more? And as you're a prime example of focus on that, and then the stuff that you thought was important, this figure on the floor, will just come eventually, because it's consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, I'm really not concerned about the actual numbers in terms of weight. My clothes feel, I've dropped dress sizes, but I feel more comfortable in my body. So I'm really not bothered about the figure. And like last week I gained a pound, but I wasn't bothered because I think it's turning into muscle because I'm doing more phys, which is fine, and I'm happy with that. You know, I'm happy with how I'm feeling and happy with how I'm looking, and in which case I'll just continue to do what I'm doing. And you know, that's the thing, don't stop just because you feel okay, because you know, all those bad habits will creep back in, and I'm determined to not let that happen.
Yeah, so what do you think's changed with regards to running then? Why are you enjoying running now? Because some people will say that, won't they? Enjoy running, and you were one of those people. What's changed?
Well, I think this COVID thing on not being allowed out the house has helped me to, I feel like compelled that I have to use my exercise session to actually exercise.
Right, brilliant.
And I don't know, when I first start running, I always panic, and it takes me a while to get into the whole breathing, but now I go and I'm actually halfway through my run, and I think, oh my goodness, I'm already halfway through, because I don't think about the running, I just do it. And I'm listening to the music, and I'm trying to distract myself, and I found that if you do, what makes me panic if I can hear myself breathing. So if I turn my music up really loud and I just get lost in the music, and then I just enjoy it, and it's just nice to have some me time. And I think that's the only time when I have me time now is when I go out for a run.
Fab, that's really good to hear that, because I've had a bit of a funny thing with running, that running for me has always had a performance thing related to it. And I don't know whether you know that from or you've experienced that from being in the Navy, like when you went for a run or you did your fitness test. And it's quite a lot, since I've realized this, I've spoke to other people and say, if you've got sport background or you've played, it's always running has been like, you got to go as fast as you can, or you've got to get fitter. And it's important that you said about that. And I've had that experience of, I'm just going to go for a run. Yeah. I'm not going to measure how far I'm going. I'm not going to time myself. I'm just going to listen to a podcast. You guys might be listening to a podcast now running. Who knows? But just just associate something that you want to with running, and it changes quite a lot of perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So if you are people listening to this, obviously we all have a fitness journey that we're on at lots of different stages. What sort of give me 3 pieces of advice, just based on your experience, and I know we're all different, but just what would you tell people that are the key things that you would potentially start doing if somebody listening was having that light bulb moment?
Well, basically set yourself some realistic goals. You know, there's no quick fix. So basically, if you just give yourself a goal and aim for it, and then you will get there. And it's about having that positive mindset and never ever give up. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to fall off. Just each day you wake up, you have a positive thought. That first thought you have in the morning has to be positive, because if you don't, then the rest of your day won't be positive. So always have that really positive thought in the morning when you wake up. I can do this. It's a nice day. And, you know, just have an open mind, and, you know, you can change your mindset. You really can. And it's like a drug. Like the more you do it, the more you want to do it, and the more you feel better. Yeah,
I sometimes talk about it. You spoke about it really well, about the reset button. That most people, their reset buttons, like you said, are a week. Some people's reset buttons, like Stuart's been 6 months, and I've not reset, and I'm not back on. And also, it's just really just that consistency thing, isn't it? It's just making that what's important to you stand out. So we've got 1 minute and 30 left. What's the future look like for you? Where are you going? What do you want to achieve?
Is to keep going with the exercise, to increase my exercise to, you know, from when I started to having to stop 3 times to having to not stop now and go a little bit further and further. You know, it would be amazing to do a park run or something like that when we're allowed to come out the house. You know, just doing a 5K would be amazing for me. Yeah.
But I can't wait for that post. So I just want to. Something jumped out of my head and it went, and it's come back again. From backing up something you said, One of our Time Buster trainers this week said about their fitness journey is that when you see people's before and after pictures, they're always like a year or 6 months, and they'd realize that it's not a quick fix. No. And when you see all these transformational pictures, very often they're not a week or 2 weeks. It's at least 3 months. In your case, and majority of the time 6 months, 12 months. So that was a really trigger for them to be like, actually, this is consistency, and again, backing up some of the things that we say quite a lot in the Time Buster Training Tribe. So Katie, thank you so much. I'm going to stop. This is just about to go off on me, and last time it took me ages to turn it off, so I've turned it off. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And yeah, that's another episode done, guys. So if you liked what you heard, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, make sure you hit subscribe. If you're listening to us on your podcast provider, please comment, leave a review, share with your friends. And if you want to know more about Time Buster training, just reach out and give me a shout. So Katie, thank you again.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Thank you.